What up? What up? What's sibbity? What's happening? Welcome to another edition of the wrap up, aka kicking it with the cousins. Tony on the mic, and joining me as always is my mailman, your mailman. I swear I'm not a hobby elitist mailman. I'm talking about Oz, the people's mailman. Oz, what's going on,
Nah,
brother?
baby. I am the people's mailman for a reason, sir. I am not an elitist. Contrary to popular belief, you may not know what we're talking about. It's a little something that's going to be coming up on Monday. We're not get too much into it, but yeah, I was called an elitist, Tony. I, th-
Hey,
I think I
listen.
made the club.
Yeah. You
I'm getting real close to Mount Hobby.
Anyways, I mean, listen, you had dinner with the one of the hobby founding fathers, you could say, and now you're proclaiming to be this this guy who how do I say, you're laying down edicts as to what to collect, what not to collect.
I'm gonna tell
So
you
I
how to
mean,
collect.
listen,
Yeah. You
you're
know what?
taking a heck of a heel turn there, sir.
I like it. I'll be that guy. If that's what's needed, I'll be that guy.
Listen, I mean, it's so check us out on Monday. Actually, it's Labor Day Monday. So
Yeah.
while you're out there barbecuing or doing whatever you're doing, throw on the cousins, flip
Yeah,
a
yeah,
couple
yeah.
burgers, and you
It's a
can listen.
must listen. It's a must listen. It definitely uh there's some things that went down, let's just say. I don't want to get too much into it. We'll just keep it, just listen on Monday. You'll be surprised and, basically I got fried. I got fried and I'm just sticking up for myself and there's things that were said about me and I just had to go ahead and clear the air because that was not the case.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. So this week at 8:50 p.m. EST, Eastern Standard Time, your boy, and before you introduce him, I'll his I quote him, in the words of Vince Carter, it's over. Nobody's gonna get me 2 weeks in a row. So the winner of the chat this week is your boy.
Yes, sir. My boy, your boy, everybody's boy, Mr. James Lumen in the Heezy Po Sheezy, baby. 2 weeks in a row. Let's go.
There you go, man. James Lumen taking back the crown. Sports card therapist taking second place. He says, he said, Lumen. Look at that. Mr. Blaine Thornton checking in from Texas, man. I thought he was, I don't know where the heck he was at, man. He goes,
Yeah.
what's up, guys? Back
He
again.
must have been hanging with them two thick boys or something.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Papa Jim's in the house. He goes, Mr. Lumen wins again. I took a little time away to refocus and look at where I want to take my collection. Yeah, Papa Jim was actually, I saw he was out visiting his son. Spent some time down there, so it was kind of cool to see that. Let me see what else everybody's saying. What up? What up? Let me see. James Lumen asks, he goes, can't leave us cliffhanging. Papa Bear, where's that collection heading towards? Papa Jim says, nothing real big. Mr. Lumen just looking for some unique items other than cars to get signed and narrowing down some of my memorabilia too. Funny he says get signed. That's we might have somebody coming on here that knows a little something about getting things
Yes,
signed.
sir. Yes, sir.
Blaine says he's in need of some new ink. Myself, Cardboard Trap House says, entertain us, please. We will try.
We will.
We will try. Mookie says Oz is elite like Joe Flacco. And Blaine says maybe the elite MJ collector.
Y'all know who this is, right? Tell me y'all know who this is.
If you don't know, and it's not Jay Ajayi. That is Westbrook. Yes.
Nah, not you. Damn.
Oh yeah, but nobody knows that. Anyways, listen. Besides that, so listen, we got this is actually going to be our first little live interview, right? Yeah, we've never done it in a live interview. So without further ado, I want to bring on a special guest that's joining us tonight. You might know him on Instagram as Sign 1933 Gowdy. Everybody else knows him as Marty. Marty,
What
what's
up?
going on, brother?
Not
What
much,
up?
man.
What up? What's Sivity? What's happening, Marty? Welcome to the Cousins Collectibles podcast, man. This is listen, I want to first apologize. I dropped the ball. I had invited you to come on last week and things just got out of hand. Life happened. Listen, again,
This is
You know,
why you don't
that's the
produce the
life of
show.
an elite. And then when you're an elitist, you sometimes those things happen. But I made up for it and I made sure we could get you on today. So we want to thank you. And dude, first off, your collection is amazing and we're going to get into it. There's so many aspects to it.
Yeah.
But first things first, for the people who are not familiar with you, Marty, let's go ahead and get a quick background of who you are. Um, why you decided on doing 1933 Gaudi to begin with, and then taking it a step further and said, let me go ahead and get these signed or signed copies of it and collect that way. So what was the impetus for all that?
Yeah, well, first I want to say it's an honor to be on tonight. I've listened to you guys for a long, long, long time. So you create awesome content. So
Thank you.
stoked
Thank you.
to be on. So thank you. I'm a lifelong collector. I'm an eighth generation Arkansan. So most people don't know how great Arkansas is. Arkansas, I think, is one of the coolest states in the country. In the first part of the 19 teens and 20s, spring training was actually held in Arkansas. And the Red Sox built their first spring training facility in Hot Springs, which is about 40 miles south of me. So all of the players from the teens, 20s, and 30s played in Arkansas. And there were a bunch of really good Arkansans that made it to Major League Baseball during that time period. So as a history buff, as someone that really enjoys not only Arkansas history, but baseball history, that kind of drew me in. And I've always kind of been nerdy, I guess. And I discovered a book when I was in junior high that had addresses for retired players. And so I actually started doing through the mail autographed requests as a junior high kid. And that led me into meeting a bunch of players that played in the 20s, 30s, and 40s that lived in Arkansas. And so, again, that's kind of how I got started. And I lived a couple miles from my house was two card shops. So I'd always ride my bikes down there and was always collecting cards as a kid. And then I guess the 33 Gaudi cards, I love art. I've always liked artwork and I guess just collecting autographs. I never really thought that I was really a card collector. I was more always considered myself an autograph collector. But I graduated high school in 95. And at 95, I went away to college and kind of quit collecting until about 2006, 2007. And then literally my mom called and she was downsizing and said, hey, you got a bunch of baseball stuff here, come get it out of my house. And went over there and found a bunch of my old stuff. And I was like, this was pretty cool. I found a lot of the letters that players wrote back to me. And I kept all that stuff. And at that time I had a little more disposable income. So I started buying the 33 Gaudi cards and other cards. I was kind of all over the place, really. And that was part of the problem, as I collected just any and everything. And then I started doing through the mail again, mainly players that played in the 50s and 60s. And so that's how I kind of got back into it around 2006 or 2007. And I've been going nonstop since.
Nice. Before I ask you, who's the guy over your shoulder there?
This
Yeah,
one,
well, both of them. Yeah, who
yeah,
are those
this is
guys?
my great grandfather.
Okay.
This one on this side is my great grandfather. He was born in Little Rock in 1860, and then my grandfather, right here, he passed away in 85. So I really didn't get to know him much as a kid, but he was born in like 1900. So it's kind of weird. Like I mentioned earlier when we were in the green room just chatting, I had my first kid when I was 40. So I've got a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old, two little girls. And my dad had me when he was 40. His dad had him when he was 40. So like you
Wow.
go back and it's like all these old dads,
Yeah.
but proud Arkansan. So that's who these folks are. And then that's an old map of Little Rock from 1870,
Gotcha.
I think. So
Okay, fair enough. So you got all that. You got, what was it? 40 Minutes of Hell with Nolan
Nolan
Richardson.
Richardson, yeah, that was
Yeah, man, that was,
93,
dude, that
94.
was
Yeah.
it. Listen,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was it for you young bucks out there. Look that up because that was nonstop, man.
Yeah.
I remember that back in the day. So you actually had a little contact with some guy, maybe some people know by the name of Keith Olbermann. So any update on the NAP and its Lajoie? There you
Yeah.
go. Lajoie card debate with Keith Olbermann. Can you tell that story, and have you had any contact with him since then?
No, I've never had any kind of direct contact with Keith. It was interesting, and I'm super private. I've collected my whole life and really didn't come out of my shell until the pandemic happened. And once the pandemic happened, it's kind of weird because I'm a huge baseball fan, but none of my close male friends like baseball at all. So um, I keep most of my collection in a safe deposit box, and
Mhm,
so I don't really get to look at it that much. And I collected a bunch of T206 cards for years and years and years. And so I think I had around, I don't know, 240, 250 of the T206 cards. And then I had over 200 of the signed 33 Gaudis at the time. And I ended up, it was one day during the pandemic, I was talking to my buddy, and his dad was a big baseball fan. And so I invited him over. I was like, hey, I'm going to go by the bank, just bring everything home for the weekend, have him come by. And it was kind of at that moment that I realized, man, this is really special. It was all spread over the dining room table,
mhm.
and he was blown away. He was like, how did you do this? And I was like, it's just years of picking stuff up and collecting what I liked and what I had an eye for, and just doing that for a long time. And he said, you really need to share this with people. And I had an idea to kind of write a book about the 33 Gaudi set. And he asked me to share it with some of his friends. He was a member of the local SABR Society, which is the Society of Baseball Research.
Mhm.
And of course, most of those guys are older guys. And so they had shifted to Zoom meetings. And so he asked me to do a Zoom presentation for the local Brooks Robinson, George Kell chapter. So I did that kind of on a whim, and I had a blast doing it. I mean, the old guys just were like blown away that a young guy knew who all these guys were. They were blown away with the collection, and then through that, several other Saber chapters invited me to come in and do these Zoom presentations during COVID. So I ended up creating the Instagram account and kind of just sharing my collection because it is special and I wanted people to see it. And what good is it if it's just locked up in a bank all the time? So
Yeah.
how the Keith Olbermann thing happened was the guys at the Five Tool Show. Those are the two Joes. Joe is the GOAT jersey guy. Shout out to them. They just reached out to me on Instagram and said, hey, would you come on our show and do an interview? And I said, yeah, I've never done one, but sure, let's do it. And jumped on, did a show with them, and really kind of flexed and showed a bunch of stuff. And I had fun doing it. But they kind of broke some of my segments up and kind of sound bites and threw it out on Twitter. And one of my sound bites said that the Nat Lajoie card was the first chase card in the hobby. If you don't know,
Yeah.
Gaudi was a 240 card set. They did not print card 106. And basically all these kids were buying these penny packs of gum all summer long trying to complete their set, and they couldn't do it. And so they ended up getting upset. There was some demand letters that were happening behind the scenes. And then basically Gaudi was ordered to print the card, and they printed it in the 34 year and mailed them to the people. So to me, it was the first chase card in the hobby. I believe that. I stand by that because
Mhm.
you had a checklist. You had a 240 card checklist. They advertised the 240 card checklist, and they just left out card 106. So that was a chase card for me. Um, he took exception to it. Again, I'm not trying to pick beef with anybody. That's the last thing I want to do, especially anybody that has a collection like Keith Overman, and he's got a world-class collection. But he said, the T206 really were the first chase cards, and there wasn't a checklist for T206 cards. Again, I get that there were kids chasing and hanging out in bars, trying to clean up at bars to get cigarettes, to get the packs, to get the
Yeah.
cards out of the cigarette packs. So anyway, it was just kind of a little thing that I didn't expect to happen, and it kind of blew up on Twitter a little bit, and I chuckled over that. And I'm not on Twitter, so I just everything I heard was just hearsay. So I don't know.
Gotcha.
But shout out Keith Oberman.
Yeah, I think there is a difference there where if you have an actual checklist and these are all the cars that are in this set and this one's missing, you're going to be chasing as opposed to hanging at the bar, essentially waiting for scraps, waiting for the guy to throw his cigarette pack down. Yeah, you're chasing the card, but
Yeah.
it's not the same as
Yeah.
this is all the cards and you got to get them all to complete the that. So
Yeah.
I'm with you on that one. Sorry, Keith. Sorry, but it is what it is. Now, I wanted to ask you before I kick it to Oz. There's been some, as of late, you're starting to see the influx of content out there with signed cards, which back in the day was seen as sacrilegious and don't do that and this and that. But you've been on this train long
Yeah.
before it's been cool on Instagram. So what was it about just that? Like why the signed cards as opposed to just the regular ones?
I mean, to me, the signed cards, everybody has an unsigned card, So, and I think the first autograph set that I did, that I completed, was in '92. Topps reprinted the '53 Topps set. And so I couldn't find '53 Topps cards when I was a kid. I mean, they just didn't pop up. We didn't have eBay back then. So uh, in '92, when those cards came out, I bought sets of those at the local Walmart and essentially wrote to every player that was still alive in '92. And it took me many, many years, but I did complete that set. So everyone that was alive in '92 when that came out, I've got a signed '53 reprint card of. So to me, it was just something special. It was the chase, like Connie Marrero. Most people don't know who Connie Marrero was, but he was a Cuban catcher. And when he retired, he went back to Cuba and was actually blind and ended up tracking down this guy that was with Doctors Without Borders, and he knew where Connie lived. And so we sent some cards over, and I think it was like $50 a card, I think is what we paid to get it done. And so I have 2 or 3, I still have them, Connie Marrero signed cards, which were pretty rare. So it was really just the chase more than anything. And then a lot of the guys died in like '92 or '93. So they were just real rare to get. And the bigger guys like Mickey Mantle and Willie Mays, I got all those signed at shows or had connections. But I've always liked art, and so the '53 cards were really cool. And then around 2007, I joined sportscollectors.net, and that's kind of a private message board. It's like a subscription-based message board.
Okay.
And that's really when my collection took off, because I found other like-minded collectors, and it was private. Again, we all knew each other. You couldn't just, Net 54 is open and you could see everything, but at least this had to, this was a subscription base. So I felt a little more comfortable being me in that space, because again, I'm private because of the work I do. But it was around that time that I got my first 33 Gaudi card, and it was just weird. I was kind of all over the place. I mean, I was collecting a whole bunch of signed stuff, and I really just fell in love with the card and the autograph. I was like, man, this is really cool. And I ended up flipping it, trading it, and the same card came back to me like 3 or 4 times. And finally, I just threw it aside. I was like, I'm going to see if I can get 10 of these. And I got 10, and I was like, well, maybe I'll get 20. And I got 20, and then I said, well, maybe I'll get 30. And then you just kind of build it up. And, I started at the right time. I mean, I didn't have any money really when I started doing this, and I certainly never imagined. I remember when I paid $1,000 for a card for the first time, and I was like, "This is insane." I mean, like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And then it just kind of snowballed. So
Yeah, we've all been there. Now, speaking of that, like continuing there, so you start picking them up. Where are you now in the 1933 set? Have you completed it? Are there cards out there that haven't been signed that you wouldn't be able to? Like, what's going on with that?
Yeah, I have 217 of the 239 cards in the set
Ooh.
autographed. So a lot of the cards that I have are the only known example, or it's one of two, or it's one of three. There are 4 cards that I have personally never seen, or my wolf pack, my private guys that I know where all the other cards are that I need. We all talk, and we all know each other. We move in these little circles, and when these cards change hands, we know who they are. There's 4 cards, and they're common guys that nobody's ever heard of, that have not popped up signed. And I'm still hopeful that they might be out there at some point. They might turn up, because everybody's heard of Uncle Jimmy. When Uncle Jimmy passed away, it was mind blowing to me because I felt such a connection to him, because he was collecting what I loved, and he got those cards signed personally and took really good care of them. And so it was funny when the announcement was made, that was on the Today Show, broke the story. My phone blew up because I've got people all over the country that have been looking for 33 Gaudis for me for years. And everybody was excited about the Babe Ruths and the Lou Gehrigs. And those are cool. And his were the best condition. And they were amazing cards, but I'm not dropping 6 figures on one card. It's just not happening. And so I was more excited. I hounded the auction house, Wheatland Auction. I just hounded them. I called them. I was like, "Hey, I need the list. I'm the 33 Gaudi guy. I'm the 33 Gaudi guy." And after a few weeks, they sent me the list of the cards, and I was blown away because it was like Heine Sand. Nobody knows who Heine Sand was. Like, I had the only known Heine Sand card, and he had one. Wow. And so there was another guy that did not have a signed card, and that nobody knew existed, and he had 2 of them. And so again, like going through, I started targeting like the really rare cards, and I just knew like I was going to have this amount of money to spend, and I had to set priorities. And I think the red Babe Ruth sold for $680,000, that one card. So again, I did it right, and I've been slowly trying to secretly put together Uncle Jimmy's collection. I have over 60 signed 33 Gaudis from the Uncle Jimmy collection now. So that's
That's sick. That I heard that on the one
Yeah.
interview that you did. I was like,
Yeah.
that's crazy. Because
Yeah.
Uncle Jimmy, he's a legend. So
Yeah.
for you to be able to go ahead and get a majority of his cars, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah. He had the kind of a cool thing. He had 175 different cards in the set autograph. So he didn't even have over 200. There's been 4 people that had over 200 cards signed, and I know all of them. And there's it's a small circle. There's a couple guys that did this in the 80s, and then a buddy of mine in Oklahoma, he put together a pretty big chunk, and then he auctioned his off. And so again, I just kind of was positioning myself the right place at the right time to pick up the cards that I need. And about a year and a half ago, I became king of the hill.
Nice.
The guy that had the most complete set, he auctioned it off, and I went after a good chunk of the cards that I need. So I now have 217. People always ask, do you have Babe Ruth? I don't. I'm kicking myself because I had multiple opportunities to buy signed Babe Ruth cards. There's actually a lot of signed 33 Gaudi Babe Ruth cards out there. I had opportunities to buy them for $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, and I just couldn't pull the trigger on it. And now those are the cheapest ones are 80, 90, 100 grand. So do I think I'll ever finish it? I don't know. I don't know. It's not even about just the money for me. It's just, like I've got 2 kids, and I travel, and I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever drop that money that much money on one card, but I think I
Right.
can get to like 225 or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, but like you said earlier, it's a marathon, you know, it's
Oh
not a
yeah,
sprint, so where there's a will, there's a way. I mean, there's gonna be a hell of a will to try to
yeah,
purchase something like that, but man, you know, you're right there, right there.
yeah, yeah.
So like,
Well, my idea and what I really want to do, and I've shared this a couple times, in 2033, the 100th anniversary of
mm,
the set, I would like to loan my collection to the Hall of Fame and let them
okay,
display it because the Hall of Fame actually has the signed Lajoie card in their collection. There is one signed Lajoie card, and it's in the Hall of Fame's collection. And
wow,
so I could give them, 217. By then, I'll probably have 225. And I know the other collectors that have the cards that I need. So we've all kind of been in agreement that we could pull our collection together and then show the whole signed uh, 33 Gotti set during the 100th anniversary. So that's the goal.
wow. When you guys get together, your little circle there
Yeah.
of because it's got to be a tight circle.
Mhm.
Are you guys trading and moving cards with, back and forth with each other? Or how, like, man, how that's got to be like kung fu grip for you guys.
Yeah, there's now two of us that are there's two of us that are solid. There's one guy who's been collecting for years, and he's not even a baseball fan. He just likes the art of the
Mm,
cards. He will never get rid of his collection, never. And so he's got probably 5 or 6 cards that I would love to have, and I've seen them in person, and we've visited, and um, I know I'll never get those cards that he has. But it's a long game for me. There's
gotcha.
3 or 4 other guys that are in their 60s, 70s that live around the country that know me, that know
Mhm.
that I've got a good heart, and I'm trying to be the caretaker of these cards. And so I think when they get ready to let them go, they've told me they'll call me.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, I'm always upgrading. I mean, I bought 2 this week. People reach out, and I do have a couple of younger collectors that I'm really excited about that have found me, and they're purchasing my duplicates and when
Okay.
I upgrade. So it's been fulfilling because these are younger guys, younger than me, and one of them in particular, um, he's got probably 80, 90, 100 right now. So he's doing pretty good. And then there's another collector that's got a pretty good collection too. So there's probably 3 or 4 of us out there now. So.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So Marty, real quick, what's more important, the auto to you or the condition of the card?
It's funny you said that. I posted today an Earl Coombs that I just got, and it's trimmed across the bottom, but it's signed along his body. I actually have a better condition card. The card is beautiful, but he signed it. It's a blue card, and he signed it in blue ink, kind of mostly in the blue area, so you
Mhm.
can't really see the autograph. So I don't know. I mean, I try to hold them in my hand, and you just know when you see them together which one you prefer. And so I'm on the PSA set registry. I'm obviously number one on the set registry. I have 75% of the set in PSA red labels on the registry, but I have another. I need to cross over the rest of them, and I'm probably going to do that before the end of the year, just so I think it would get me up 85% or so on the set registry. So I'll probably do that before the end of the year.
Sweet.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's some serious stuff, man. That's
yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, for sure. Now you're in the process of writing a book. So what's the subject matter and how close are you to finishing it?
Yeah, it's funny. Like during the pandemic, I really kind of churned out a lot, and so it's funny because I know the collectors that got over 200 of these cards signed. I talked to them. I know um, a couple of guys that wrote to a lot of these players. I wrote to some of these players. So what I really am doing with the book, I'm about 80% complete. I'm going to get it finished. my wife is like, you got to get done with this book. And I'm be frank with you, I'm sick of 33 Gaudies. I'm sick of I'm sick of everything about 33 Gaudies.
I actually wanted to ask you that. So hold on,
Yeah.
because I'm like, when you lay down at night and you're laying on, like, is that just all that's running through your head?
No, it's
Okay.
not
And
all. I
I'm
mean,
wondering, I'm like, how deep does this go? Because I'm like, damn, you're really like, all right, I need number 146. And I know the guy in freaking Arkansas in Texas has, and he's being a real jerk. So I need him to, like, how does that all kind of go through
no,
your
I
head?
mean, I mean, over the years, yeah. I mean, there's been collectors that are jerks that had
Yeah.
them, and they know that you want them, and so they are jerks. But if the hobby's small, man, and if you
Yeah.
treat people wrong, uh, it's going to come back on you, you know. And so I always try to treat people right, and you know, uh, so again, opportunists when they're there, and again, I'm always playing the long game. So yeah, I search for 33 Addies every day, and I probably have every day for almost 15 years. I mean, I've got the eBay alerts set up, I've got
Yeah.
Google alerts set up, I've got, I mean, it's an everyday thing, and again, I'm blessed to have a bunch of friends across the country that are going to shows, and they'll send pictures, and it's a blessing. And I like I say, I got 2 cards in this week alone, so it's a constant process. I want to have the nicest sign set known to exist, and I do now, but it's I'm going to continue to improve it, and really don't have any plans to get rid of it anytime soon. So I've got another decade easy. So
Wow. Real
So
quick.
Blaine Thornton, real
Yeah, go
quick,
ahead.
kind of jumping the gun here. Our next question was this specific thing. Do you collect anything else or only Gaudi? Now you've been actually building, I guess, PSA graded basketball sets as well. If you go onto your page, you got some craziness going on there. I mean, your page is sick to begin with. So talk to me about these PSA graded basketball sets that you've been collecting.
Yeah, I'm a child of the 80s and 90s. So I grew up, a big basketball fan. I'm a big guy. I'm 6'4".
Hmm.
And so I played a little
Another one.
basketball.
I think
Yeah,
that
another.
we talked about the prerequisite of being,
Of course.
6'2" or above.
Yeah. So, I'm a taller guy, and I love basketball. I love 90s basketball. Jordan was so much fun to watch, and then all the talent. 90s basketball was just special, man. I mean, it was amazing. And so really kind of in the pandemic, I got burnt out on 33s. And so actually before the pandemic, and I know Oz, you're building the PSA 9 86 Fleer set.
Yes.
I built a PSA 8 86 Fleer set before
Okay.
the pandemic, just boredom. I mean, it's easy to do if you budget, and you can
Yes.
go on eBay and buy them anytime you want. So I built a PSA 8 86 Fleer set, and then I built a PSA 8 87 Fleer set, which was harder because much smaller print run, and people weren't getting those graded. And so when I completed that set, ended up starting the 2012 Prism basketball set, because that was the first Prism. So it's
Yep.
a 300 card set in PSA 9. So I'm kind of OCD. It's got to be 8s or 9s.
Now, are
And
those the prisms or the bases?
no, I'm just doing the base.
Okay.
I'm just doing the base.
I like the OCD stuff though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. And then recently, a few months back, started doing. I can't afford. Well, I could afford. I'm not. I'm not going to spend thousands of dollars on those red PMGs from the '97 Metal Universe set. So I started looking at them, and I was like, man, those cards are just fire. And so I'm going to build a PSA 9 um, metal set from '97,
Nice.
and so again, these cards pop up every
Yes.
once in a while, and you got to get those autographs when you can. So
Yeah.
that's
Look
the
at that.
on card
Look at that.
auto.
And you got to have Allen Iverson on there,
Gotta
right?
have AI
Of course.
sitting there.
Wow.
And then the one that I really really liked was
Ooh, is that the
Oh
Timmy?
yeah.
Tim Duncan, because his autographs he's hard to get, So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never seen
uh,
that one autographed. That's dope.
yeah, that's a pretty fire card. So I'm building the '97 Metal Universe in PSA 9. Because it's just beautiful. If you haven't seen those cards, buy one, and you don't have to get them graded. I mean, just buy 2 or 3 for a couple bucks on eBay, and just look at them. They're awesome. So I've got most of that set done. And then the really cool little side project that I started was the 2013 National Treasures, the sneaker swatches.
Oh, I love these.
So
Jeez.
yeah, these are insane. Like
Wow.
these were it's a 25 card set. It's pieces of the shoes and then on card autos.
Wow.
So these are the first sneaker patches
Yeah, those are
with on card autos. And so I wanted to do another small autograph set and just look at that checklist. I mean, it's got like Kevin Durant. It's
yeah.
got David Robinson. It's
Ugh.
got, I mean, and they're just fire.
I love David Robinson's autograph. It's so huge. Like if he does it
Yeah,
on a sticker, it always gets cut off. It has
yeah,
to be an on-card auto for it to
Yeah.
look good.
yeah.
Yeah. Are
So
those Blaine's asking, are those the metal? Are they all autos that you're collecting or just trying to put the set?
no, I will never do another autograph set. It's insane. I mean, it is absolutely
Yeah,
insane.
that's adding like an extra layer of difficulty. That's why it's amazing to me the whole 1933 Gaudi and then getting all those signed. It's like Jesus, man. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
kudos.
Yeah, for sure. Now you have an article coming out that's going to be published on Basketball Card Fanatic.
Yeah.
Any little preview you can give us on that as far as what you got coming on that?
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people have come back into the hobby the last few years, and it's good to see. And I think all the content creators, Rob said it the other day. You got to just stay humble and keep learning. And uh, the cool thing about the hobby now is there's so many good people in it, and there's so many people that are creating good content. The one thing that I will say about the article is. I kind of preview my thought process. I stay on a budget. I keep lists. I have 5 projects that I'm doing at any one time, and I don't deviate from those 5. And once I finish one, I'll add another to my list. So I stay laser focused. So when I complete the 97 Metal Universe set in PSA 9, that will go in my safe, and then I'll add something else to it. And so that to me keeps it fun. A lot of the projects that I'm doing aren't super expensive. It's just searching for them. I mentioned the 2013 sneaker swatches. I have 20 of the 25 cards in that set, and I've been doing that for about a year now. So they kind of very rarely pop up. So I still need 5 of those to finish that set. So I've got Google alerts set up and eBay alerts. And so, again, I'm always looking for something, and it keeps it interesting. I might get a 33 Gaudi. I might get, some other chase card that I'm getting. But, I think it's important for people to keep lists, stay focused, and remember, you got to play the long game in the hobby. And, people are figuring out, and it's fun for me because this is what I've been doing my whole life. But people are figuring out that you buy basketball cards in the off season. You don't buy them in the end of the season. So the hobby ebbs and flows, and so I'm always playing the long game, and I'll buy stuff in the off season and fill up the safe. And so again, I think not enough people talk about this, but I think it's important to keep your collection, especially if you break a certain dollar amount in your collection, keep it in a safe deposit box. And you can get safe deposit boxes at your local bank for fairly cheap, and then get insurance. I mean, I live in Arkansas. There's a lot of big collectors here in Arkansas. And we had a tornado come through less than a mile from my house just a few months ago, and it devastated tons of homes. And your home insurance doesn't cover your collections. And I think I think we're doing a disservice if we don't talk to each other about this, because anybody can have a fire, anybody can have a flood, anybody's home can get broken into. So, collector's insurance is a must. So I talk a little bit about that in my article too. So, but again, it's just the love of collecting PSA graded sets, and and doing stuff like you don't have to go chase red PMGs. I mean, we're not going to spend $4,000 on some common guy. You know, you can go buy the 97 Metal Universe that are the same cards that look
Yeah.
just as cool, you know,
I
in
think
PSA
honestly,
8 or
dude,
9.
I think the base cards look better than the
Oh,
Yeah,
PMGs.
those
yeah,
base cards are ridiculous. I like
yeah,
what's killing me is that you can so you have a mail day one day, Nat Lajoie comes in the next day, Derek
yeah,
Coleman comes in the next day, Lou Gehrig comes in the next day. It's like, yeah, that's why I like that you have a little bit of different
yeah.
flow going like that, like that.
Now, Marty, building off of that, piggybacking off of that, like, for people in our audience and even for myself, like if I'm looking to build an iconic set, you've been doing it, you're in
Mhm.
there. Like, what advice would you give to somebody if they're looking at it, they want to try it, but it just seems out of touch? Like, there's no way I'm going to be able to do something like this. How do you start, man? Like, what's the best way to do it and to stay consistent with it?
Well, Warren Buffett would tell you you're not going to become a millionaire overnight. You got to save that first $1,000. You got to save that first $10,000, and then you'll get to 100,000 eventually. You know, and so same thing with a hobby is everybody wants a if you want to build a 52 top set. I mean, start setting aside the money, get your checklist, say, hey, this is going to take me 2, 3, 4 years to do. And I personally always try to pick a good looking centered number. So if I'm going to build a vintage set, I'm going to look at like threes or fours usually, and just play the long game. Again, anything is possible in the hobby if you're patient. And remember, this is a marathon. I used to run marathons. I mean, literally. So I have the runner's mindset. So it's be patient. I mean, you're like like I don't know, 25 years ago, if you would have told me that I would have had the collection that I have today, I wouldn't have believed it. I mean, there's no way I would have believed it. And now I know I've got probably a 7-figure collection, and it starts at with checklists and just taking your time. So it doesn't matter if it's um, 33 Gaudis or uh, 2013 sneaker swatches, or it's 2012 prism based basketball. It's whatever you like. Go for it, and don't. You know, I do look at what I do as an investment too. That's another thing. So I think everything that I've collected, I think is going to hold its value because it's either the first prism set or so I am cognizant that it's an investment for me, but I would much rather have these than throw everything in stocks. Now, that's something else we need to talk about. I think people need to maximize, their retirement accounts, and they need to save and they need to do all that because to me, this is a piece of diversifying my portfolio. And this is a commodity that I can have, that I can enjoy, that I can keep around because it absolutely is an investment. I sold a ton of cards during the pandemic that I had accumulated over many, many years. And I did all right. I did all right. So it's, it's,
Awesome.
uh, it's for the love of the hobby. And so you're having fun with it. Just make lists and stick to it, and don't chase the shiny. People, we all talk about it. You can't just get on eBay and be like, I like this, or don't get FOMO. I mean, you don't. I mean, I follow a ton of people on Instagram all the time too, and I see really cool cards, and I just try to stay focused. And you gotta do it, and you gotta keep those lists, and really try to keep yourself in check. And if you complete a project, you get a sense of pride. You put that away, and then add something else to it, and do that for a while.
I like
So
it.
that's all the advice that I've got. Yeah.
I like it. I
It
like
works for me. Nobody has to listen to me. I mean, I don't care.
it. Nah, hey, listen, if it's working for you,
Look,
it's gonna
right
work
right
for
now you're
somebody
the
else.
master, so we're gonna take
Sure.
take the
Yeah.
For
advice.
sure. Now, Mookie's on line 6 and he says, Marty, can you help? And hopefully, Mookie, I don't know if this is real or not, but I'm gonna read it anyways. You never know. He says, Marty, can you help me find an autographed 1986 Topps Rusty Staub? He's the last Met that he needs.
Yeah,
So
I'll write it down. I'll see what I can do. I know a few people.
there you go. There you go. So Yeah, there you go, Mookie. So, all right, it's real. Yeah, I never know because Mookie's
He
80s
likes
and
to throw
90s.
in those zingers.
Yeah, Mookie's
Yes.
80s and 90s reference game is pretty strong. So I never like I'm not too after like Doc and Straw and like Keith Hernandez and stuff like that. The 86 Mets, Rusty is one that I'm not too familiar with. So it's fair enough. I'll tell you what, we're gonna do card of the week coming up here, and now you
Yeah.
totally flipped my card that I had. So let me dig one up. Marty, I'll give you the floor first. If you have something there, you've shown some really cool cards, but floor is yours. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I'll show you one, and this is one of my favorite cards. This is an Uncle Jimmy signed Adolfo Luque. He is the first Latin American pitcher in Major League Baseball. Uh, Most people don't know about Adolfo Luque. He was a Cuban-born pitcher, amazing guy. Google him. He died in, I think, 1957. There are only 3 or 4 known Adolfo Luque cards. Um, and this is the nicest example by far. When I saw that Uncle Jimmy had this card, it blew my mind. He should be in the Baseball Hall of Fame. The fact that he is not in the Baseball Hall of Fame is a tragedy. He is the first Latin American pitcher to win a World Series game. He's the first Latin American pitcher to lead the league in wins and shutouts. He won the World Series. Listen to this. In 1919, he won his second World Series in 1933. So he was the Nolan Ryan
Wow.
of the 30s. And he mentored hundreds of thousands of Cuban players, Mexican players. He coached in the offseason in Mexico. He is in the Cincinnati Reds Baseball Hall of Fame. He is in the Mexican Baseball Hall of Fame. He is in the Cuban Baseball Hall of Fame. The fact that he is not in the Baseball Hall of Fame is a tragedy. So do me a favor, go look up Adolfo Luque. He is one of the greats, and I'm
Wow.
proud to own this card.
Wow.
That is awesome. Brendan
Mic
Ryan.
drop.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
wow. Wait till you see what I follow that up with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, so Brendan says, he goes, I believe that card was featured on History Through Cards a while back. Rux card says, what up, boy? Fly Eagles fly. So yeah, so this is no 1933, 1943, 1960. Hell, it's not even 1983.
Yeah.
But I think I've shown this before, but just because you inspired me, I think this is the only on card rookie card auto that I have. And it's 1987 tops Randall Cunningham with the mint 9 and an auto 10. Just
Ooh.
because, I had a Dr. J rookie here, but I'm like, you know what? Let me so this I'm proud to own this card, man,
It's
because
beautiful.
I grew up on Randall. So this is
Yeah. Cunningham was no joke, man.
Nah, for sure. I'm still I want this in a PSA 10. Haven't gotten around to getting that yet, but yeah,
Sweet.
picked this up and wasn't too crazy, wasn't very expensive, but
No.
so yeah, in honor of signed 1933 Gaudy, I have a signed 1987 tops.
I love it. I love it.
So, all right, Oz, what do you got?
Hold on, give me 1 second. I first
You
want to give
got
a
it.
shout out to my boy checking in from the Philippines, my brother from another mother, Mr. James Mendoza, checking in. Unbelievable.
Sure,
Appreciate you.
for
Now, the
sure,
card I
man.
wanted to grab, I can't get to it. So I'm going to go ahead and use this one. Now, I picked this one up from Mr. Dave from Extraordinary Cards. He hooked
Okay.
me up. It's a 2013, 2014 exquisite collection. 0304 tribute autograph. So it's Allen Iverson in his Georgetown uniform. I love this card. I just love the aesthetics of it. The on card auto on the bottom there, serial numbered. And just the shine that it gives. These exquisite, man, even though it's the replica exquisite, not from 0304, but it's made in that style. I just think these are
I like
so,
that hollow background.
yeah, man. The
Yeah,
hollow
It's
background's what does it. So
clean.
cool.
Yeah.
that is nice. That's nice. Very nice there, Oz. Matthew, our guy, 1956 Tops
Oh,
guy, says, hey, sign 1932 goes, dude, send me a card as a gift. Great guy. There you go.
wow.
Yeah.
So there's Matthew signing off on Marty's he ain't no joke. He's the real
It's
deal.
philanthropy.
Yeah.
There you go, for sure. That I mean, man, now I like that you have like all these projects going on at the same time, and like you stick to 5 or whatever it is. Because
Yeah.
yeah, I guess I would see how you would get burned out if it's only 33 Gaudi all the time, and it's
Yeah.
just like, so it's kind of nice that you get that little, other things coming in to change the plate, because otherwise yeah, I get it. So nice.
Yeah, yeah, like the Scoring Kings. I put together that in PSA 7. So I didn't want to spend a ton on
Hmm.
the Jordan, and you could get. I mean, the sevens look to be just as nice as the eights, and so if you really look for the right card, you can build that set. The 97 SPX. It's the hologram cards.
Yeah.
I put
Yep.
a PSA set of that together too. I just like the basketball, so it's, you
Yeah.
start a project and it might take you 6, 7, 8 a year,
Hmm.
many months to do. But if you're rotating them in, there's always something available. And usually if you break them up like that, it's affordable, because we all have our own budgets, and so,
Yeah.
and you gotta have priorities. But to me, it just works and it's fun. It keeps it interesting and fun and exciting. And
It's cool.
I'm having fun with it.
That's the best part. Brennan asked, "Do you collect the 1933 G-Men set?"
No,
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 sir. So he only collects, well, not Eagles, but ain't no G-Men up in here.
no.
I mean, and I also like that you're like, it doesn't even have to be PSA 9s, PSA 10s. You're good with, if the set looks cool in a 7, it's done
Yeah,
and off to the next one.
yeah.
Like that. Like that. Well, Marty, listen, man, we're gonna wrap up. I totally appreciate you jumping on with us. This went way different than what I thought it was gonna be. I was like, oh, we'll talk about 33 Gotti. I don't know anything about 33 Gotti, but I didn't know that. Looking through your page, I see what you collect, but just
Yeah.
talking about it all, it's really good conversation. The chat's been thoroughly entertained. I'm like, yeah, these guys are like, I see, they're like, man, this is real cool. So, appreciate your time and jumping on with us. So. Thank you very much,
Yeah.
sir. And
Yeah.
Oz, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to thank you, Marty. You reached out to me, which was amazing that you even, took the time to go ahead and slide into my DMs, and we started chatting, and I was like, let me check this guy out. What's this guy about? And then bang, I'm looking at this guy's account. I'm like, holy crap. This guy hit me up. Why is he hitting me up? This guy got a whole damn 1933 Gaudi set signed. I was like, man, until I told Tony, we got to get you on as quickly as possible. And like I said, I apologize for dropping the ball. But man, you came, you stepped up to the plate and you hit it out the park as usual, bro. Thank you
Well,
so much.
I appreciate y'all and what y'all are doing for the hobby. I mean, y'all are. I mean, I love it. I love what you're saying. Keep focused, keep positive. Keep collecting. That's what it's all about. As long as everybody's having fun, you've got a good community going, and I've loved seeing you guys evolve. Last second plug. If you don't follow me on Instagram, give me a shout on Instagram. It's at sign 1933 Gaudi. I will have the book finished by the spring, and
Nice.
so I'll. Happy to jump on Zooms
Yeah,
if
you come
if you
back
got
on
to
with us. Yeah.
come back on, and
Love it.
if you've got a local Saber chapter and you want me to talk about 33 Gaudis, I'm happy to do it. If anybody sees this and wants me to do that, happy to do it. It's a great set, and I appreciate everybody in the hobby that's helped me along the way. And if you see one out in the wild, take a picture of it and send it to me in a DM, and I'll respond back instantly. I got my phone on usually, and especially on the weekend. So I got a lot of friends go to shows Saturday, Sunday, Friday, and so
Yeah.
I get pictures from all over the country. You got this one? You need this one? And it's it's always willing to upgrade, and I do pay finder's fees. And
Wow.
again, I try to help people in the hobby. If you help me out, I would appreciate it. So.
That's awesome. Now, before one more question. Now,
Yeah.
like you said, like kind of the guys who all collect it. Are you connected with some dealers that tend to pick this stuff more often than a collector does? Like, is it?
Yeah, I mean, I do. Yeah, I know some folks. The problem really becomes is like I know how much they got
Sure.
I know how much they paid for it, and a lot
Yeah.
of people now, well, I won't call out anybody, but some
Yeah,
people are, they know they've got a card that I need, and I know what they paid for it, and I'm all for giving them 20, 30% more. But when they want a 2x or 3x the price just because they know I need it, it turns me off. And I'm patient. I mean, nobody's going to pay
right.
what they're asking for that card. That card belongs with the other collection. So again, I'm willing to help people. I know we're all trying to make a little bit and keep our hobby going, but yeah, I mean, 99% of the interactions that I have in the hobby are super positive, and I like to give out just more than I receive. So if you do see one out there, let me know. So
Sweet.
Awesome. That's awesome. Before I kick it to the mailman, just stay on when we're done here. Just don't sign off because
all right,
we'll wrap up in the green room. We'll have some champagne and all that good stuff.
sounds good.
So, without further ado, Mr. Mailman.
The mailman is in the building, delivering as usual. Once again, thank you to everybody for showing up. Awesome conversation. Wildcard X showing up at the last minute. Philippines represent again. James Mendoza, can't believe it. I think this is his first live. I don't think I've ever seen
No,
Mr. Mendoza checking in for live.
other than when we brought him on for
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
"This Is Your Life" segment, that was it.
Reaching the Philippines, Cousins Collectibles. Love it, love it, love it. Hey, listen, man. Marty, once again, thank you so much for sharing. That's dope. From one introvert to another. I really appreciate you coming on board. The passion comes through. And man, keep doing it, bro. You're killing it. Killing it, killing it, killing it. Definitely, you know what I mean? Inspiration for all of us. So with that, gentlemen, thank you. And we're going to end this like we always do. And that's keep focused, keep positive, and keep collecting. Ayo, Tone, bring the beat back.